Hi everyone, it's Alexis with Project Management Made Simple. In this video, I'm going to answer the question, do you have to know how to code or be a programmer to be an IT project manager? My experience has been that I've been working with teams for several years now. I do have some coding experience from my undergraduate degree, which is in Business Information Management, which is a combination of computer science and business management. But in my professional experience, I have had no experience coding, and I have been able to still be a successful IT project manager. Why is this? The reason for this, and let me actually first go back to answering the question, do you have to know how to code to be an IT project manager? The short answer is it depends. IT project management and what that means to an organization can be very different depending on if you're working with a smaller organization, if you're working with a larger company. I have been across the board where I've worked with a large company, I've worked with a small company, now kind of with a mid-range company, and I have found that with the smaller company that I was working with, you had to wear multiple hats. And so in some cases, if you are someone who wants to code, right, or you're perhaps a programmer who's transitioning into project management, that could be something that is of an advantage for you. But typically when I get this question, it's from individuals who haven't learned how to code or haven't done any programming in their professional experience, and they're really curious, is there an avenue, is there an opportunity for them to transition into IT project management? And again, the short answer is it depends. It really depends on the organization's needs and their expectations of the particular role of IT project management. For myself, I have not had to know how to code, and a lot of this is because I've had team members that fill in those gaps. Traditional IT or traditional project management, rather, not just IT project management, but traditional project management is around directing the team. Project management at the onset was more so around not even necessarily guiding, but literally telling each team member what they needed to do. And now that the world that I'm in is an agile project management environment, that has completely shifted. It's a lot more servant leadership and guiding and coaching the team rather than telling them what to do. So that's one piece of this. The other thing I wanted to highlight here in IT project management is for IT project managers, IT is a gamut of different projects that you could be working on. At the start of my career, I was working on a lot of infrastructure-based projects. So I was working on projects where we were procuring software and hardware that the enterprise that was going to use to then ensure that our business applications were backed up appropriately. Ever since then, I've worked, that was about 4 years of my career, and then I switched over to the business development side of things, business application development side of things, where I worked directly with teams that were building out systems, solutions, applications that our business users would then use to ultimately be able to support our, customers outside of the company. And so that's where I'm at today. I'm working with software development teams where we're building out systems, applications, and solutions that then support our business users to perform their business processes. And so in this case, and in the organization that I'm working with right now, I have a team member who is, for one of my teams, he's both the team lead and the architect. And this is important to highlight here because if I did not have him in this capacity, then I might be expected to perform that role or perform the responsibilities of that role. And so in this case, and not necessarily I personally, but the project manager, right? What I'm really trying to highlight here is, again, depending on the organization, they may actually expect the project manager to do some of these things. And what I mean is that the team lead and architect for this specific team that I work with, he ultimately is the person who decides which of my, programmers, which of the team members is going to work on which task. He also does his own code review to ensure that it is, fitting in with the larger picture. He's also the architect. So, he's choosing the software, the technologies that are going to actually be used to build out the solution itself. So he handles all of those responsibilities. But it could be in a smaller organization that we don't have an architect, right? And so maybe the project manager is expected to take on some of that burden, and the team members take on some of that burden themselves rather than having kind of a role that directs them in that kind of manner. So from my experience, I have not needed to learn how to code, but this goes back to, I've said it time and time, I've just said it like repeatedly. I have not had to learn how to code, but that's because I have had individuals that I've worked with who are working in a capacity who they are then directing the project team members rather than myself. When I'm in the Agile world, I am more so focusing on the Scrum process and coaching the team to adhere to the Scrum process through the lens of being a Scrum Master. Now, Scrum Masters and project managers are not the same thing. There are arguments going either way that project managers could be poor at being a Scrum Master, because the idea is that in project management, it's typically directing the team versus Scrum Master is coaching the team. It's servant leadership. It's a different It's a different style of leadership that can be very hard for some project managers who are used to giving out clear orders to teams to swap to that coaching and supporting type of role. And so, we'll see project managers who are transitioning in the Agile space, not to make this video about that, but just to kind of close the loop on perhaps the next question, which is, well, you said that you're a project manager and you work as a Scrum Master. Is that the same thing? It's not the same thing. Some project managers do well in the product management capacity, right? And so I'm highlighting this to showcase that as an IT project manager, it has very there's different implications to the type of IT project that you're working on, so the organization that you're working with in terms of their size, as well as if there's other roles who are going to fill out those gaps in project management that typically maybe a project manager will have to do themselves. This was a video answering the question, do you have to know how to code or be a programmer to be an IT project manager? I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please do give this video a thumbs up, and I will talk to you all in my next video.